Hey, what's up, everybody? Izzy here, getting ready to jump into the very first episode of my brand new sports podcast called More Mindless Sports Babble. Gonna get to that in a minute, but first, let us take care of some business. Rockstar Leatherworks. Leather bands and watches, high quality, very cool gear. Check them out, rockstarleatherworks.com. You will find one that you want. And if you don't, you can design one that you want. That's how they roll over there at Rockstar Leatherworks. Check them out, rockstarleatherworks.com. Trust me, you're not going to just go buy one. You're going to want to buy a lot more than one because you're going to love that first one so much. You're going to go back and go, I want more. And you're going to email me and thank me and say, thank you, Izzy, for turning me on to this great product. rockstarleatherworks.com. Leather bands and watches. Hairball, my PR clients will be, let's see, this weekend, Bemidji on the 18th, 19th in Fridley, La Crosse, Wisconsin on the 24th, Austin, Minnesota on the 25th, Alexandria on the 26th, Omaha, Nebraska on May 2nd, and Brainerd, Minnesota on May 3rd. All dates and ticket information, hairballonline.com. Don't forget to check out my website, izzypresleyproductions.com. Find me on the Twitter, as Chris Jericho likes to say, Izzy_Presley. And if you want to contribute to the show, it's very easy. PayPal. The address is izzy.presley@gmail.com. All right, without further ado, please let us jump into the very first episode of More Mindless Sports Babble.
Bob, in all my years of calling games, I don't think I've ever been this excited.
You're excited? Feel these nipples.
Hello, everybody. Izzy Presley and my brand new podcast. Now I have two, another effing podcast, and this is a sports podcast. This is called More Mindless Sports Babble because Lord knows we need more sports talk. And I miss it. I really do. Credentials? Hey, I was the sports director for RX Magazine and the Weekly Buzz newspaper for roughly 7 years, covering the Minnesota Wild, the Twins, the Wolves, and some Vikings here and there, so I think I know what I'm talking about. I was at a lot of those games. I wrote a lot of stories, and I miss it. I miss talking about it. I used to be on with Imholt every Friday afternoon for a couple years, talking sports on his radio show, which jumped up his ratings 85% in that little percentile time when I was on. So I think I'm all right. I will be looking for a permanent guest host, a permanent sidekick for this show. And I'm sure I can find somebody out here in the Los Angeles area that knows what the hell they're talking about and knows what the hell they're doing. I mean, this is where everybody goes, right? So what we're going to get to in this very first show, we're not going to run that long, but we're going to have a little fun. We're going to talk about the Ultimate Warrior and his untimely passing last week. We're going to get into the NHL playoffs and break down that stuff and give you all of my predictions for the NHL playoffs. And we're going to talk a little Ryan Malone, too. He got himself into a little bit of trouble a few days ago. Ryan Malone, of course, plays for the Tampa Bay Lightning, came up at St. Cloud State University, and with the Penguins for a little while too. So, but we're going to kick off with the Warrior, and before we get into talking about him, every time a wrestler dies, you will hear this upcoming sound, the 10-bell salute. So, here you go. Yeah. That's for Ultimate Warrior, who actually changed his name legally to The Warrior. He was born... Oh, what was his birth name? I just had it right here. Oh, here we go. His birth name was... Oh, yeah. James Brian Hellwig. Changed his name legally to The Warrior. Passed away on the 8th. Right after he finally made amends with the World Wrestling Entertainment Organization, or as I still like to call it, the WWF, because it'll always be World Wrestling Federation to me. But that's besides the point. That's for another time. That's for another story. That's for another rant. The Warrior, as all of us wrestling geeks know, came up in 1987 and took the world by storm, beat Hogan, beat Savage with, 3 moves. He had a clothesline, he had a body slam, and he had a splash. Wasn't exactly the most technical wrestler. Run down to the ring, run all over the ring, bounce off the ropes, bounce off the ropes, bounce off the ropes, shake him, shake him, shake him, shake him, shake him. And his matches weren't that long. Well, the Hogan one was. That was actually a good match for 2 people with limited wrestling ability. But that's not the point. The point of this is that the Warrior is gone. For a better part of 20 years, he had a very, very, very bad relationship with Vince McMahon and the business of professional wrestling. He was never... I was watching an interview with Ted DiBiase today, and they're talking about the Warrior and how he was never about the business. He was always just about the money. He didn't care about the business. Or was it Brown? Bad News Brown, I think that's who he was talking about. DiBiase was talking about his lack of wrestling ability. I think this is before he passed away too, so I don't know. But he never liked the business. He was never one of the guys. He was just there for the money. And he got his paydays. He made a lot of money for his run as a professional wrestler. Then he was out of it. He's speaking for the Republicans or Young Republicans or something like that for a long time, and he finally buried the hatchet. Him and Vince finally buried the hatchet. They brought him back for WrestleMania. They brought him back and inducted him into the WWE Hall of Fame, which was 2 weekends ago. And, he was inducted, and then he returned to Monday Night Raw and gave a speech. A very, very eerie speech considering what happened just the next day. And I think I'm going to play that for you right now. This is, wow. After you hear it, if you haven't heard it already, here is the speech the Ultimate Warrior made on Monday Night Raw the night before he passed.
Well then, you shut up, Warrior, and let me do the talking. No WWE talent becomes a legend on their own. Every man's heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe their final breath. And if what that man did in his life makes the blood pulse through the body of others, it makes them believe deeper in something than larger than life, then his essence, his spirit will be immortalized by the storytellers, by the loyalty, by the memory of those who honor him and make the running the man did live forever. You are the legend makers of Ultimate Warrior. In the back, I see many potential legends some of them with warrior spirits, and you will do the same for them. You will decide if they lived with a passion and intensity, so much so that you will tell your stories and you will make them legends as well. I am Ultimate Warrior. You are the Ultimate Warrior fans. And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, man.
The newest member of the Hall of Fame.
I had to let this go just for the music. He did have great music. There's no doubt about that. Oh, yeah, there's the fans already fading out. Eerie. Chilling. Talking about the last breath. Talking about the last heartbeat. And, you know, Ultimate Warrior forever at the end of it. I had to play as much as I could. Of course, all rights to the World Wrestling Entertainment for that clip. I obviously don't own that. I'm just a pile of trash with a microphone, I guess, so to speak. Warrior died of a massive heart attack. He had major cardiovascular disease. And I'm going to post the video on the Facebook page for my other podcast called Another Effing Podcast. I'm just going to use that one page for the two of them because I don't need to build another freaking page. But you can see... You can see him struggling almost. You can see him winded. Yes. I'm gonna look. What's the actual medical term? Medical examiner officially classified the death as atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, heart disease. Man, and what was he? 54 years old. Dude is only 54 years old. I'm not saying it's a huge loss for the wrestling industry. I mean, it's not like he was a current guy. But as far as the history of the profession goes, it will always be a profession to me. It will always be professional wrestling. I cannot get on board with the sports entertainment crap. It's all about professional wrestling. It's a brand. It's fun. Sports entertainment, it just sounds so childish. It's always going to be professional wrestling. I'm sorry. I'm old school like that. But I mean, you just can't deny that the impact that the Warrior had during his time. He was huge. I mean, Hogan put him over. That's how big the Ultimate Warrior was. Yes, he was an odd fellow. And not necessarily all the boys enjoyed working with him. I remember seeing that DVD that the WWE put out. And Jericho was saying that they basically said, don't say anything nice about him. And if you see that DVD, it's basically the whole thing is trashing the Warrior. And I know he had a couple of run-ins with Andre, too. He got the big man mad, and that was one thing you didn't do, is you don't piss off Andre the Giant. And Andre leveled him in the ring. You gotta watch that. You gotta watch it. I don't know the name of it. Let's look it up. I got it here. Let's look it up. I have the porn box. I mean, I have the internet at my fingertips. Ultimate Warrior DVD. Oh, what is that called? Ultimate Warrior. That's loading. Ultimate Warrior Collection? That's not it. I should know this. The wrestling geek in me should have this ingrained in my melon, but I've burnt a lot of brain cells over the years, as I have a bottle of Jack Daniels sitting at my feet, which I have not drank tonight, by the way. The self-destruction. There it is. There it is. The self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. talking to a lot of the current guys at the time, but a lot of the current guys that you know. I mean, Jericho and Christian was in there, and Edge was in there, I believe. And one of the funniest parts is when they all redo the classic. I gotta find the. Hold on. I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find the audio for that classic Warrior. The one with the airplane crash. Such a great promo. Makes no sense whatsoever. Actually, maybe I'll just find the one of the wrestlers making fun of it. I'm kidding. All I could get was the real one. Just listen to this. Here we go. Sorry, the quality's crap, but it's... He's got a question to answer.
Question. As you, Hulk Hogan, travel to WrestleMania.
Traveling to WrestleMania.
By conventional means, the normals you travel with experience malfunctions. As you realize, all that is left is total self-destruction. Do you, Hulk Hogan, show self-pity? Do you, Hulk Hogan, try to reason why? Do you, Hulk Hogan, try and comfort the normals that have even more fear than you?
The normal that have any more fear
Or
than
do
you?
you, Hulk Hogan, kick the doors out? Kick the cockpit door down.
Oh yeah, traveling by conventional methods. I get it.
The two pilots that have already made the sacrifice so that you can face this challenge. Dispose of them, Hulk Hogan. Assume the controls, Hulk Hogan. Shove that control into a nosedive, Hulk Hogan.
Control into the nosedive. Wow.
Push yourself to total self-destruction. As you realize, Hulk Hogan, you are about to enter a world close to parts unknown. Oh, smell it, warriors. Do you, Hulk Hogan, look for a place to hide? Or do you, Hulk Hogan, face that challenge that may be more powerful than even you are, Hulk Hogan? You, Hulk Hogan, must self-destruct so that you will know, Hulk Hogan, who is
Dramatic pause.
the chosen one.
The chosen one.
Hulk Hogan, I am not the chosen one
He's not done yet.
that you speak of. I am not. I, Hulk Hogan, am the only one.
Did anybody make sense of that? We've been trying to make sense of that since like 1987, 1988, whenever he made that. Wow. I thought Savage's promos were like weird. Well, his were always like coked out and super intense, but That was odd, I guess, so to speak. But the Warrior's gone. He left us. And might I reiterate, he physically, legally changed his name to the Warrior. He was no longer the man he was born as. He became the Warrior. I mean, it'd be like me changing. No, I think it would be a little bit different than me changing my name to Izzy Presley legally. But the Warrior? I don't know. He's gone. He was 54 years old. Joins the rest of them up there in wherever those wrestlers go when they pass on. You know, he's probably still not having good matches wherever he went, but at least he doesn't have to worry about getting winded anymore. The Warrior's gone. Rest in peace, Ultimate Warrior. Oh, wow. Almost coughed right there. That's another one. He's gone. It's amazing. Well, at least the last few years, the rate of wrestlers dying has slowed down because it was a bad run for a while. You got Kurt Hennig, Ravishing Rick Rude, Brian Pillman, Eddie Guerrero, the whole Chris Benoit kerfluffle. That's a whole episode on its own. I mean, that's just a small little handful of how many have gone. But the ones from that Warriors era, those are the ones that who are dying off the most, I think. I think just because of all the steroids. The absorbent amount of steroids that they took in that era. I mean, it's not like that anymore. I mean, they don't let them take them anymore, so to speak. I mean, they have testing and all that kind of stuff, and they still get huge. How? I don't know. But it's not quote-unquote illegal steroids. But I'm sure it won't be too long before I have to play that 10-bell salute again. Ultimate Warrior, rest in peace. Let us move on to hockey before I get into the playoffs. This kind of leads into the playoffs. Tampa Bay Lightning forward Ryan Malone got himself into a little trouble. I know Ryan Malone. Partied with him a couple times. Nice guy. Fun to party with. He got himself into trouble with the po-po a little bit. Heading home in the wee hours of the morning, around 3 a.m. Let's see, when did this happen? Where is the story? I should have had it up right here. Okay, no, that's just saying that he is out indefinitely. 5 days ago. Pardon me while my page loads. Oh, let's see. What day did this happen? Arrest occurred 5:40 a.m. Eastern Tampa time. 5:40 a.m. Eastern. So this was after a really big night of partying. Mr. Malone got himself a DUI. He was turning left, and he hit the curb as he was turning left. Cops pulled him over, refused a breathalyzer test, and refused all the tests. So they cuffed him and stuffed him, and they took him in, where he eventually blew like a .113 or 118 or something like that. Where is that? This wasn't in this story. But also in his back pocket, they found a little cocaine. How does this affect his playoffs? Well, he didn't play tonight. And I believe he is out indefinitely because he is going to be... Oh, man, he's going to be under observation now with the league. And they're not really commenting anything else beyond that. Because he didn't travel with the team to Washington before the game, before the end of the season. and the playoffs started tonight. So looks like the Tampa Bay Lightning are without Mr. Malone for a while. And it's weird. It's like you don't really hear this too often in hockey. Now, hockey players, they party. They love to party. But it's rare that you see something like this pop up in the news. It's rare you see any kind of legal trouble pop up in the news for hockey players. Baseball players, too, for the most part. It's like basketball and football. That's where you see the legal troubles. And I'm not making any kind of race judgment there. I'm just stating the facts about that. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But I don't know if hockey players and baseball players are more responsible. Because, like I said, you don't really see this pop up too often. You never see the gun charges. You never see the bales of marijuana charges and more gun charges and more gun charges with weed charges on top of it. Drunk driving. Well, this is drunk driving. And a little bit of cocaine, but it's an interesting conversation. I wish I had somebody here to have this conversation with me. Hopefully I will soon. Like I said, I'm going to find myself a permanent co-host for this bad boy and make it even better. But Ryan Malone is out indefinitely and under league supervision, as they do with any kind of substance problem. And we'll follow that story and bring you updates as soon as I get them. And let us move on to the playoffs, which did start tonight. So as we get to the series, I'll give you the scores from the first night and tell you if they worked into my predictions so far. First, we have the Boston Bruins and the Detroit Red Wings. Boston, one of the best teams in the league, definitely one of the best teams in the East, if not the best. Boston runs away with this series. Well, I shouldn't say runs away. I think they take it in 6. They won a cup. They've got the experience. I mean, obviously, Detroit's got the experience too because they're in the playoffs every year. But I just don't think you can beat Boston yet. We'll get to my picks later. But Boston definitely comes out of the first round against Detroit. Pittsburgh and Columbus Blue Jackets. That game was tonight, game 1. And Pittsburgh won 4-3. I see Pittsburgh taking this series in 5. Now, moving deeper into the playoffs, I think the problem that Pittsburgh will run into is their goaltending because Marc-Andre Fleury is not exactly the best goaltender in the league. And when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs, you can ride a hot goaltender a long way. Even when he's hot, he's not great. So we'll see what happens. I just do not see Columbus beating them. They're just way too young. I think they're the youngest team in the playoffs for sure. What they have on Pittsburgh is the goaltending. Sergei Bobrovsky is very, very good. Much, much gooder than Marc-Andre Fleury, but Pittsburgh's just too strong up front. I mean, come on, Sidney and Gino, as they call them. Just too good. They're not going to lose to Columbus. They move on to round 2. Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal Canadiens. That was game 1 tonight. Also, I got Montreal in 6 in that series. Montreal won tonight. I just got a feeling about Montreal. A Canadian team has not won the Cup in 21 years now. And I think this is the year it happens. Montreal is my pick to win the Cup. Why? I don't know. I just got a hunch that Price is going to carry them. So, of course, that has them beating Boston in round 2? I don't have the bracket in front of me. I suppose I could look at the bracket. Wouldn't that be easier? Instead of just looking at the the results from tonight. Game Center Live. Where's the bracket? All right, NHL Playoff Bracket. This is why I need a producer, just to have this stuff up in front of me. All right. Oh, that's 2012. I don't want that. 2012 does me no good. 2014. All right. Where is it? Here we go. That's right. So I will have Boston and Montreal going into the second round and heading off at each other, and Montreal moving on after that because I have them taking the whole cup. I don't know why. I just got a hunch. It's a hunch, I tell you. Anaheim and Dallas. That game 1 was tonight also. Anaheim, very, very tough to beat at home. I think I have them in 5, beating the Dallas Stars. No, 6. I'll give them 6. San Jose and the Los Angeles Kings. I got the Kings in 7 on that. Too much experience, too much goaltending. San Jose is not a nappy team. Don't get me wrong. But Jonathan Quick, like I said, goaltenders are going to take you a long, long way. And, LA can put the puck in the net. So, like Los Angeles. St. Louis and Chicago. St. Louis is beat up moving into the playoffs. They have been on a very, very, very bad run going into the playoffs. Chicago is just so damn tough. Of course, they just won a cup also. So I got Chicago in 6 in that one. And, of course, the very last one, the series that I lend the most to because of my upbringing and where I'm from, Minnesota and Colorado, the Wild and the Avalanche. It's the homer in me, but I got the Wild in 6, beating the Avalanche, moving on to lose to the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round. It's just one of those feelings. It's one of those hunches. I don't know what to say about it. Sometimes you just gotta follow your gut. And my ab, I have an ab. I don't have abs. I have a beer gut. I have an ab. Goes well with my doughy physique. Has the Minnesota Wild beating the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, I know it's not going to be easy. It's happened before. It's happened before. 2 very different teams. But I think Freeze is going to lead the boys. Past the Avalanche to lose to Chicago in the second round. Anaheim and LA in the second round. I have Los Angeles beating Anaheim also. Moving on to the conference finals against Chicago, where Los Angeles will move on again to play against the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Finals. Beards will be grown. Canadians will be raising a cup over their heads. Oh, I forgot the Rangers and the Flyers. Rangers in 7. I know there's a lot of people just calling me an idiot right now, but I don't care. This is also why I don't do well in the March Madness bracket. Well, I can't do well in that because I don't fill those out anymore. I'm not a basketball guy. What can I say? March Madness does nothing for me. Oh, that's the best playoffs. No. This is the best playoffs. Your Stanley Cup playoffs, the Stanley Cup Finals, the quest for Lord Stanley's Cup. There is no playoff better in all of sport because of the meaning of the cup, because of what these guys go through. Great quote I heard during the game tonight, during the Pittsburgh game. I can't remember who they were quoting, but somebody got a busted up nose and it was bleeding, and I think they quoted Scotty Bowman. One of Scotty's famous lines was, You can't score with a nose or teeth. Get back in the game. And that's a hockey player mentality, man's game. It's the absolute truth about it. Hockey players are tough, especially during the Stanley Cup Finals. Guys will pretend to not be hurt to get out there and play. They don't stub a toe, and they're not out for 6 weeks because of that. There's guys that play on broken ankles, guys that play with blown out knees, can barely walk, but they lace them up and they get out there and play. They lay down in front of pucks. Broken noses, broken jaws, and they get out there and play. Man's game. It's because it's the Cup. That's what it's all about, the Stanley Cup. And that's why it's the best. That is exactly why it's the best. That is all I got for this first show. Like I said, this one was going to be short. Nice little tribute to the Warrior. Next week, hopefully I will have a co-host, and this will go much, much, much longer, much more fluent, and much more gooder. But until then, please check out the sponsors, Rockstar Leatherworks. Check out hairballonline.com. See if they're playing near you. Go to the website, izzypresleyproductions.com. Follow me on Twitter, Izzy_Presley. And of course, if you want to contribute, if you want to help the show, you can. It's easy. Via PayPal. I don't care how much you send. $5, $10, $100, $1,000, $8,000, whatever you want to send. It's up to you. You don't have to send anything at all. But you can. Izzy.presley@gmail.com is the PayPal address. That is Izzy.presley@gmail.com is the PayPal address. Send me what you like. Don't send me anything. I prefer if you send me something. That'd be awesome because, this stuff's not free. Got to pay off these microphones. I got to pay off the computer. I got a monthly bill for my programs. I got internet. I got all that stuff to pay for. It's not free. The internet part is free. Well, no, because I have to pay for the internet too. So please help out if you can. If not, hey, that's fine too. Until then, I will see you next Wednesday night. This is Izzy Presley. This is more Mindless Sports Babble. Episode 2 coming next week. Until then, I will see you then. And I do love you all. Trust me, that's not going to happen. See ya!